Good. Good evening. It is March 8th, 2023, and I'll call to order the Conservation Commission meeting. Members tonight, to my far right, we have Mike Camacho and Sherry Burdick. I'm the chair of the commission, Andy Fulton. To my left, Steve Nager and Ray LeMay. And our member, Mark Phillips, is not present at this point. And does anybody know whether Mark will join us tonight, or?
I thought he was coming. I thought he was afternoon.
He sent you an email that said he has work and won't.
Okay. So Mark will not join us tonight, but we have 5 of our 6. We're good for a quorum. We did not have a meeting last month. Had some illness and absences. So we have a number of different things on the agenda that have been kicking around. And as I'd like to do at the beginning of a meeting, we have guests in the audience. If you guys, this is part of the exercise, just come up to the podium there and just introduce yourselves and just your interest, and just a minute or so, and then we're glad to have you sit in with us as long as you would like to tonight.
Sure. My name is Susanna, or Zuzu Teitzlin. I live on Abijah Bridge Road, and I'm here with not much purpose beyond observing and finding out if there's any way to get involved with the Conservation Commission.
Great, and you had emailed us back.
Phil had, yeah.
Phil did, okay.
Yeah.
Back last month at some point. So good to see you tonight, and you know this is great to have you here and just get a sense on some of the chatter that goes on, some of the items that we deal with, and how we deal with them. And like I told you in the hallway, we're always interested in seeing new energy come to the commission. And so we mentioned when you sat down, we do have vacancies, and there are roles for those who are interested. Nothing makes us the end-all be-all for conservation and Weare, that's for sure. So glad you guys are here tonight. Thank you.
Can we, I think we should go over just, for their benefit, a little of kind of what we do, because it's kind of the bureaucratic
Come on
end of
up,
it.
Phil.
I'm Philip Cody, live with Zuzu. We do some volunteering with the Piscataquag Conservation, so figured why not see what you guys do. Yeah.
Go ahead, Steve.
I was just gonna say, I don't know how much you know or don't know about like the, kind of the role of a conservation commission, and then also what we have here in town. So we've got, Weare has about, 2,000 acres or so of town forests, and we have some more parcels that are just designated as conservation land. There's a little difference in how they get managed and where money goes from management activities. And, those are all open to, to public recreation. They're kind of multiple use, whether, forestry, wildlife, water. And then, we also, there's kind of the bureaucratic side. So conservation commissions are advisory, and in our case, we have 7 members, in the commission, 1 vacancy, and we have, kind of alternates as well. We, from time to time, have stood up subcommittees. The open space one was probably the most successful in terms of like projects that got done and how long the committee actually lasted. We had a trail subcommittee, and we just kind of spun our wheels a little bit. Trails, it's been interesting, trails in town, but it seems like it's a challenge, like physically getting out there and people knowing what they're doing and getting them laid out and getting them done. So we've spent a little bit of time kind of planning. We've had some studies and that kind of thing and some preliminary designs, but haven't really gotten too far with it, other than some existing trails that we have. And then we kind of, in state law, there's things that we get tagged doing, like reviewing wetlands, permits, we kind of end up reviewing some development proposals. For me, that's the stuff I don't enjoy personally as much. Others, everybody has their own kind of focused or interest. Like my background's forestry, Andy's a geologist, got just different backgrounds, different interests. I'm kind of traditional, kind of hunter, hiker, fisherman, but if others want to chime in, anything I missed, but that's kind of like the basic sort of role. And we meet once a month and then kind of as needed, you know, if we have like a field trip or something like that.
Steve mentioned our advisory role. That's advisory to any town body who's interested in our advice, but we work primarily and fairly closely with the planning board. That comes and goes depending on what initiatives are underway in town and whether there are new subdivisions being considered. We get closely involved in the planning stage on subdivisions. We also are advisory fairly frequently with the Board of Selectmen, and there's some roles that they have on town property, some roles that we have, and it's in our interest to be aware of each other and what's going on. And I try to think what other, sometimes there are special initiatives that we get involved in, like the community forum years ago, which wasn't initiated by us, but we had some, gained some information and had some feedback from that suggesting what the town body itself, at least those willing to come out and talk, were interested in, open space lands and things like that.
Yeah, well, thanks for that little.
And then if Ray, Mike and Sherry, you guys would just share a little bit about yourself,
Yeah.
so that these guys.
Sure. I'm Mike Camacho. I live on the backside of Mount William Pond there. I work at the Department of Environmental Services. I've always found peace out in the woods, so I joined up with the Conservation Commission to try to, you know, keep open space available to the public to go and enjoy. And I've learned a lot about forestry and all sorts of other things by being on the commission.
I'm Sherry Burdick. I've lived in town all my life. Love the outdoors. Spent a lot of time hiking and riding horseback and outside. And I'm retired now. I was an engineer and a manager for years, and just enjoy trying to keep the open space going and so people can enjoy it. Because at some point, we won't have it if we don't save it now.
Yeah, we live right adjacent to, I guess, the Toby Hill parcel.
Yep,
forest there,
Hardwick,
So we're
yep.
on those trails all the time.
Yeah.
We appreciate that it's right about our front door, basically.
I should also mention before Ray, that we have a pretty good, and have had for years, a pretty good relationship with the PWA and now the PLC. We've worked on a number of different projects, some that we've asked them to be involved, some that they've initiated and asked us to be involved. So there's a pretty good working relationship, and it gets intense at times, and other times it's, like now, we're in a pretty sort of mellow phase of property management. You'll see that they have a letter that they offer up to us talking about, I'm not sure whether it's one or more than one easement that they're involved with in town. So there's a fair bit of back and forth with them, and we try to stay in each other's good graces. We team up pretty well. Go ahead, Ray.
Ray LeMay, was born and raised in this area. I own an erosion control company, so we manufacture and install erosion control products. And I figured by being part of the Conservation Commission, I could bring a contractor's perspective into this. And being environmentally conscious, obviously, with our business, I figured maybe I could be of help. That's the main reason why I joined this, is maybe I can help you review plans and, you know, maybe get a contractor's perspective on a developer, what they're thinking, what they're doing. And that's all. That's simple as that. Other than that, I'm pretty clueless most of the time when they're talking about the budgets and the forests and everything. But that's okay.
Would you say the learning curve has been pretty steep or just steady?
Well, I'm learning slow. Yeah, I'm slow learning. But yeah, it's, I like it. It's not what I thought. Conservation Commission is a bunch of tree huggers that don't want anything to happen. No. We want it to happen in a proper way. And I'm one that, you know, if it was up to me by myself, I'd say, let's put a 10-acre limit on lots. I would.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'd like to conserve as much land as possible. I feel that there are certain places that can be developed without any harm, but most of the time, land gets developed without any regard to the surrounding areas, and it's a detriment. So hopefully we can keep an eye on that, and everybody will be happy.
Yeah, seems like we all have a little bit in common here.
Have either of you served in any capacity with a town board or commission or committee before?
No.
Excellent. That's most of us. That's most of us. And Steve mentioned my background's geology. I didn't mention, but I also work at Environmental Services as Mike does. We're in different divisions, but there's one thing the commission does, and we have a little bit of that tonight. We do get carbon copied on correspondence, a number of different correspondence, wetlands primarily from the Department of Environmental Services. So we do have a role in some of the permitting process for wetlands in particular. And we can offer comments occasionally, we do, to the state in their consideration, and other times we have questions for fellow conservation-oriented positions within the state body, but another entity that we have some role with as a conservation commission. There have been times there have been things asked of us, and we haven't been able to help. There are times we've asked things of them, and they haven't been able to help. But it's the community or the number of different entities that are involved with conservation issues in town is actually pretty wide. We had Fish and Game occasionally we've collaborated with and done some good work. So it's pretty neat. It can be a pretty perhaps at times dizzying experience when you're new to it, and we tend to jump through things as quick as we can. But it's for those of us around the table who've been at it for a while, some of us quite a while, it's been worthwhile, and fundamentally it'd have to be worthwhile for you guys to find a role that works for you, one or the other or both. So we've actually had some folks who have joined up, and they've said, we're going to change you guys because we don't like what you're doing. And this was years ago, but 2 members, they joined up. And then one within 6 months says, oh, you're not doing what I thought you were doing. You're okay. I got too many other things to do. And the other one stayed on and contributed. And we became quite the opposite of adversarial. And so it's a different experience for different people, but we try to do the work that needs to be done in a way that everybody can be involved and see transparently what we're up to. And we'll have some further comments on that sort of transparent item and things we need to do further on in the meeting. But as guests, feel free to raise your hand and inquire if there's something of interest that doesn't make sense. Sometimes you might really catch us on something that we need to explain better and record better. So thank you.
Looks like you have a lot to go over stuff.
That it does ebb and flow month to month, but there are a number of things that pots that we've been stirring that we need to keep track of, and this the agenda is important to help us do that because our work really has to be done in the public forum. We don't meet behind closed doors to hash out deals. It's all right here. It's all in the public, and that's important to us all as members as well as town residents, and what we have expectations of town governance, and you know, we're trying to do the things that we can be proud of and out in the public realm. One thing I didn't say, I have recorded the start of the meeting at 7:07, just for the record. So thank you both. So 15 minutes in. Let's try to sort out, Steve, where we are with these bids. It looks like we have 3.
Well, we got one by email, so we need to,
Have you found that?
it's not on this bids thing, I don't know where it got posted.
I saw the email.
Is there a paper one here from Mellon or no?
I don't think so.
No. So we have to decide whether we're gonna accept that email or not.
Your answer's no.
No? Okay, so I think we should state that for the record.
Oh, and speaking of the record, Naomi, when can we, if we were to receive help on the minute recording, when might that occur?
I just haven't had time. I have other things that have come
Yep.
up. She's got all but one set done. I just didn't get a chance to proofread and send them to you.
So that could be coming within
For our next meeting.
the next few weeks?
Yeah.
I'm taking notes. I planned on doing the minutes until we're caught up, so.
Yeah, so she's got all but one set done. She's working on the last set now.
Okay.
And then she'll have tonight's set to do.
I
So-
can do tonight, if she doesn't want to.
Yeah, I mean, whatever, we should get this one out just 'cause, you know, with the bid, so it's all out there, one way or the other. So in any event, I think we should just state
Mike,
this.
go ahead with that. And maybe this will be a instructive or helpful exercise to us. Naomi, if you go ahead and have the help process them as usual for tonight. I might just want to have the exercise of comparing a couple different sets, and whichever one's ready first could become the draft minutes, and then we can compare and consider where we are with that after the fact when the group of them is ready for us. So you okay with that, Mike?
Yep.
Yeah, they can be pretty concise.
Right.
Do you want to publicly read this, just because we're gonna eliminate that one via email because it was non-compliant?
I have it right here if you want it, but after it says sealed. The other thing you gotta do is, there was one in my mailbox, and it says right here they had been received by February 8th. So I'm not sure the date on that last email.
I'll just go by, what do you have for a
All
post?
right, that one's definitely postmarked way before that.
Says it had to be by February 8th at 5 PM.
Yeah. I can't tell a date on this one. It's got this weird. Oh, these two are both the same kind of stamp. So they're not canceled or anything, Naomi? So how do you ascertain like when it was? Stamps.com. Yeah. Is there a date hidden in that?
And guys, what we're talking about here is some sort of official work that we need to have done, that we anticipated being above a certain threshold of funding involved, and we needed to get a open solicitation bid for the work.
This is the one that was in my mailbox
What, just in the last week or something?
yesterday.
Well, that's
So I
probably
don't know
late.
where that came from. This, I'd had upstairs with that one. This one here. This one was in my mailbox yesterday when I got here.
We don't know if it was floating around the town or if it,
I don't.
want to see what the date is on the correspondence
Yeah,
in there. I
you
think
can
that'd
when
be,
you guys open it.
so
Okay.
say if the correspondence is
Doesn't it
dated.
say on the solicitation that we can waive informalities or whatever?
Nope, I didn't
No.
put it in.
say that?
All right, let me go ahead and read this into the record. This is what was posted for a request for bids. Statement of work, survey of town-owned property in Weare, New Hampshire. Town of Weare is soliciting bids for a survey on one of their newly acquired town forest properties known as the Hardwick Lot, map 407, lot 13 and 12. The northernmost line of lot 13 has not been located in the field with little to no found monumentation. The town is seeking a qualified surveyor to locate the northern line of this parcel, 1,689 feet according to a butter's deed. Scope of work will include corner pin monumentation, center line flagging, and a sketch of line. See book 5799 and pages 1830 for a butters. Map 404, lot 23, lot description. Map 407, lot 13 is bound on the east by a wall and Toby Hill Town Forest, bound on the west by Wolf Creek Conservation Area and a stone wall along Wildwood Road development. To the north by Chase Lot, map 404, lot 23, with no known monumentation. South is the adjoining town forest parcel, see plan number 28689. Please, and this is the critical part, please submit sealed bids to the town of Weare. Attention the Conservation Commission, 15 Flanders Memorial Road, Weare, New Hampshire, 03281 by February 8th at 5 p.m. The town of Weare and the Conservation Commission reserves the right to reject any and all bids. So those were the principles that we put out there in seeking bids, and it appears we have certainly two that meet that, and one that came in by email that does not meet that, and one that maybe came in late, which would not meet it.
I'm wondering if you took that to the post office, if they could scan that and figure out the date on it.
At least it's a sealed bid, so it's not like they would have done anything wrong. I don't know. Usually when you have a date, you have to meet that date.
Hmm.
But it's usually because they read the bid within a day or two after that date. We skipped last month's meeting, so here we are. Does it carry over? I don't know.
I'd suggest we go by the date on the correspondence inside, if there is any. So
Yeah.
for the record, we're gonna eliminate the email bid from Mellon.
Agree.
Yes, that's not sealed.
Yeah, that one's eliminated because it does not meet the criteria. All right, so shall we open, see what we have?
Okay.
Please do, please do. It's something else. Yeah, TFM we have dated, that's too bad, February 17th, 2023.
So
That one's
that's
out.
after the due date,
Yep.
for sure.
We don't even need to look at that. Sometimes that can make it pretty easy. I remember
And
when we were doing like.
is that a bid or is it
forest
something
plans
else?
or something. It's just
Yeah,
like
it's a
They
bid.
didn't
Okay.
answer the bid correctly, you know,
Yeah.
the sound of it.
It's Meridian, so.
Yeah, good.
Do you want any more information off that?
I'll just take a look at it.
This one was definitely sealed, January 26th. That's an estimated fee. Did Meridian come in with a firm fee?
Estimated.
Yeah.
Jeez. So Hancock was estimated at 7,500 plus 250 in reimbursable expenses.
Yeah, this is similar.
Meridian is 65, 100 plus or minus with a $1,000 retainer.
So Meridian with at a estimated 6,500 is the lower bid.
And this is only, this is quoting only for task 1, so if you read this, it doesn't. Task 2.
Did that other one come in on time?
This one did, yeah. Oh, it's dated, yeah, this is the one that,
That's the
Yeah,
one
January
that came in
26th.
earlier.
yeah.
But the one that came in late, this last week from Naomi brought in,
Yeah, we can't even
Okay.
look at that.
Yeah, task
We can't even
2,
look at that, I mean,
The bid itself was dated the 17th, so they
Yeah.
prepared it after
Gone.
the 18th.
yeah,
right, so it's just no further look, no further consideration.
no, you can't.
All right, task 2 on the Meridian one, I think goes beyond, or does go beyond the scope of what we were looking for here. It's just a heads up. And they say here, although identifying and marking the northerly lot line of tax map 407 lot 13 is the desired outcome, if boundary evidence is lacking or incomplete, and/or if field measurements do not match recorded deed descriptions, then the boundary line agreement may be necessary.
Steve, can I see that other bid?
And the second page just is copy of the statement of work.
So are they, I mean, are they addressing the request for proposal for what we asked them, $6,500? Because it seems like a no-brainer. They're lower, we've dealt with them before, we know who they are.
how many acres is that up there? You remember?
100-something.
100?
Review record deed and plan information. Perform a field survey and attempt to locate record boundary evidence along the northerly line of tax map 407 lot 13. We will also locate adjacent property corner evidence in an attempt to reestablish the northerly lot line of 407-13 in the event that no evidence exists along this line. We will then prepare a sketch showing our results. If boundary evidence recovered is sufficient and reliable, we will return to the site and install lot corner monumentation at the missing corners and wooden stakes along the lot line. The ability to do so and accuracy of the stakes to be set will depend on the accuracy and reliability of the boundary evidence recovered. The sketch to be prepared will identify areas of concern, if any. However, it will not resolve any conflicts or discrepancies.
It's pretty standard.
So the survey says we're going to do our best to go out and locate that northern lot line, covering that 1,689 feet. If we can do that, we will absolutely put those corner pins in, or corner, what's the word to use here? Corner monumentation. And we can do the center line and provide a sketch as long as we can find the field evidence or the boundary evidence. I guess that's depends on the accuracy and reliability of the boundary evidence recovered. Seems to drill it.
Yeah, that's gonna be the case with any surveyor.
Yeah.
You can't just make stuff up.
Right.
They
The
can't
other one,
figure it out.
that's higher.
And Hancock. Says we'll conduct research at the town assessor, deeds, registry of deeds, and other surveyors' records, field survey to locate existing monumentation and boundary evidence, office calculations to determine boundary location, field survey to set missing corners and mark lines with flagging or blazes, and prepare a sketch. sealed within a sealed envelope.
Yep. I mean, if you're good, I'd like to go ahead and make a motion that we accept the proposal from Meridian because they are both essentially equivalent proposals and the estimate is approximately $1,000 less, so that I think it's the appropriate thing to do as far as the town's, spending the town's money wisely.
I'd second that.
All right, so we have a motion to accept the Meridian bid at 6,500. We have a second from Sherry, motion from Steve. So further consideration, reasons we wouldn't go forward is if we thought it was not representative of the work we wanted done, and we said this was representative of the work that we want done, but we just said, you know what, we can't afford it at that price. Anybody think it's unreasonable for what we need to expend 6,500?
I think in this day and age, that's a reasonable amount of money.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So they've been responsive.
Yeah.
It's within reason on the cost. Do we need to have more than 2 bids received? Or is it,
I mean, you technically receive
Four.
We had-
4 bids.
4.
2 you disqualified because it didn't match your proposal.
Well, one came in late.
I'm just saying, 2 doesn't match what you said.
Yep.
right,
So you still have 2, and all you needed was 3.
Yep.
Even though you're disqualifying 2,
We
you
had,
still received 4.
yeah.
so for town purchasing, we're okay.
You are.
Good.
But where you, just in your motion, where you're taking your money from?
That's
I was
good.
gonna accept this and do a motion to pay for it from conservation, but I also think that we had actually probably motioned that before, how much, approximate budget, but yeah, it's gonna come from conservation. So I'd say we accept this and then do a motion to,
Let's do what first things first.
right, but yeah. I mean,
Okay, it'll just be a 2-part exercise. All right, so we got a motion on floor that's been duly seconded. Any further commentary from the commission? There being none, all present indicate in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Any abstentions? All in favor. That's what I heard, correct?
Yes.
Correct, all in favor.
All right, so, you ready for another motion?
Yep.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to authorize 6,500 from the conservation account to fund the survey work by Meridian and to authorize the first payment, the retainer of $1,000 from that 6,500 immediately.
Second.
All right, so Steve made motion for payment from the Conservation Fund. Ray seconded that. Any further comments on that from the commissioners? There being none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? All in favor. And for the sake of our guests, and hopefully prospective members at some level, sometime, Conservation Commission has 2 primary accounts from which we can fund work, and one of them is a conservation fund, which is solely under the jurisdiction, if you will, of the Conservation Commission. And that in the town of Weare receives revenue from the land use change tax. Primarily, that's when a property goes into subdivision and development, I think it's at time of sale of the property. So the account grows, the value in it grows when property's moved out of current use or a conservation status to a, if you will, a developed status. And in the town of Weare, the conservation fund receives, what's the percentage we're at, Steve, is that?
I think it's 75.
75.
75% of the land use change tax that the town receives goes to the conservation fund. 25% goes to the general fund. And that is set by town meeting. A few years back, we had a proposal that it be changed. And at deliberative session, that proposal for changing it was shot down, and essentially it stood as it had been before, the 75-25. And that's set up by state law, or we are allowed to set that up, and the town did many, many years ago before anybody here was involved with the Conservation Commission. And that decision at the 75 was made before any of us were on the commission. The second account is a town forest account, which we use for maintenance and management of our town forests. We have a forestry contractor who works for us to plan and oversee the forestry work on our town forest parcels. So to use those funds, first they have to involve the town forest, and we have some conservation properties that are not town forest. We have some conservation initiatives and work that we do that is not directly related to town forest work. And that, those funds grow when we have a harvest on a town forest, and the stumpage, or the sort of after everybody's paid value of that harvest, the timber, the chips, the whatever leaves the land, accumulates in the town forest account. And we're able to, as a Conservation Commission, use a portion of that town forest account if we are approved for it at town meeting. So essentially we ask for and have with regularity received that allowance through the years. And so we are essentially agents to expend from it if we get approval from the town body. So it's another level of hurdle, but sometimes we use funds from both accounts for a project. For instance, if we were to buy town forest land that will become additional town forest, we can use revenue or funds from both accounts. Anything else with this
Yeah, you gotta sign
this
that.
item?
The only thing I'm not clear on is if they're billing through Meadowson or if they're billing direct to us. Can ask them with the highest, I guess, or,
That, we did bring that up, and I'm not,
I think they were billing, I thought that was on another project, we had that discussion, I don't know if we had it on
maybe
this
it
one.
was.
So in any event, we probably have to send 1,000 to Meadowson, and then they'll,
Send it to
yeah,
Meridian.
Do we wanna talk to them first, cause they'll charge us to do that probably for administrative fees, and it's an extra cost.
well, that's the discussion we had, but it's just part of the, kind of the deal for having professional management like that, you know?
Yeah.
So I think that was, we had some discussion about that issue, and I don't know if it was for this particular project, but I think it's inconsequential compared to the, you know, the service they provide.
Well, what Matthias said was if they're doing that for us, then he would not be automatically marking up the sub's work and then billing us the fee plus a markup on it.
All right.
That's what I heard.
Well, we can just ask them how they wanna deal with it.
Since we have worked and had Meridian do work for us directly before,
You know?
it's maybe a moot point.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna matter much. Scan that thing with your signature and send it right out. That's just,
All right. Wow, 7:48 and we finished line, agenda item 1. Number 2. Naomi, would you please provide an update on where we are with the asbestos sampling that needed to be done or was done?
Well,
And
there is asbestos there, I was looking for the report, but it's too far out of my box.
okay,
Not a lot
And-
of asbestos, but there is asbestos actually in both of the buildings I had to look at. Which one is not your concern?
right.
I was a bit searching, but it's too far out of my, I have to go to archives and it's not working.
Do we,
We're gonna have to get somebody to
I guess the next step
Have to
on
find
that is to
someone
get a,
do something with it, right? It's nothing the highway guys can just take out
Right.
to a
Right.
dumpster.
so, need to retain the services of a asbestos abatement
Yeah,
contractor.
where do you get that from, the state? Who do you get those
no,
from?
that's
Well-
commercial, you're gonna have to put another proposal out. Right?
Like,
There-
what, green?
Certainly the
green,
folks, there is
this-
somebody within, I think he's housed in Air Resources now.
Yeah, I sit next to him.
All right, so there's somebody at the state who's advisory to that. He can't tell us who to use, but he probably, or she could probably provide us a list of abatement contractors.
Cause if you Google them, I tried a couple of them and they're out of business, I don't know why their Google's still up.
So there is a,
Is there a division at the state for the asbestos, you know,
There's a group.
there is a group?
Yep. I can talk to them. All they're gonna be able to provide is a list of,
Yeah, that's all we need,
Contractors.
yeah,
Yeah.
we can take it from there,
yeah,
but
okay.
I tried Googling, you know, because we had some here when we did the painting. The
right.
person's no longer in business.
I think, do we as a department certify who, that's a,
Not the state of New Hampshire, other states do that.
okay,
You do have to be certified
Yeah.
To handle it, yeah.
to handle it, but we don't do the certifications.
but we would note whether a contractor on the list would
They
say
have to
this
be
is a
licensed, they have to be
certi-
licensed in the state of New Hampshire.
So there would be a one pass at least on that assistance, Naomi.
Okay.
Mike, could you get that phone number to Naomi?
Yep.
Thanks. We try not to. Sometimes we buy land that has buildings on it. And we have, a couple years ago, or no, it was last year. Well, it is a couple years ago now, 2021. Yeah, 2021, we purchased a property that had a residence, not a grand residence, had a grandiose shack on it, essentially. But we are going to remove that structure, and we want to remove it properly. And one of the things on demolition work that we do not want to overlook is the potential for materials within the building that can be hazardous, and we want to deal with those appropriately. So that's going to require some resources. Town will have to find those, be it conservation or maybe there be There could be some grant assistance, I'm not at all certain, but things we need to do to get acquired properties into better shape. Any other thoughts on that issue? So we have one action item that Mike will
I don't
take care
think
of.
it's a big problem, it's, just, it sounded in the report like
If I remember, it was some caulking on the windows.
talking,
It
there's
could have
just a few
been,
small things.
yeah.
There's a little bit of
Swedish
masonite
shingles.
board,
Yes, masonite
or
board.
hard board,
Yeah.
we used to call it. It's a,
It wasn't like the whole building was condemned.
right,
Yeah.
right.
but it's nice when it's that hardboard, because it's not particularly friable, doesn't send a lot of stuff into the air, which is where the big concern with asbestos is. It's not gonna hurt your skin, you just don't want those fibers in your lungs. They do not help. All right. We keep pounding on this one, Naomi. It again became evident to the commission, this is number 3, the need for town email address so that the commission can respond to inquiries without using our personal emails.
Yeah, because
Um,
you right now all are attached to conservation@weare.nh.gov.
Right, so we can receive, and I think we do receive now, I think we got that ironed out, emails like our guests here send out to conservation@weare.nh.gov,
Mhm.
but in responding to them, it's our personal email. Perhaps most of the time, there's no issue, and we've done that, but there are times when we would not like to put out our personal information more than,
Yep, the only thing is I'm charged $5.99 an email a month.
an email address that's on the list. So
That's why I have one for you guys. But like,
you have one on the front end.
But all the police have one, the fire have one because of the messenger on their dispatch. That's how they get notified now, is that way. I spend about $8,000 for server work plus emails.
So why don't we get one for
Just-
the chairman
Yeah,
to respond? Just have like chairman at, yeah, I mean, Weare conservation chairman at whatever, weare.gov or whatever it
Is
is.
there any way that conservation inbox, Andy, could be authorized as a user for it?
So if you reply back, it shows up as your own?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You actually can't reply back with Yahoo, will whack that, it won't even go
That
through.
part.
it doesn't go through.
But
Yeah.
yeah, if you, yeah, it doesn't do, it gets really weird. And we can't send a message to anyone.
So, and I've stated this before, if you send it to me, I just would send it out, copy it.
But did we respond on that? That's kinda like number 8 there was the issue that cropped up that we
Oh,
couldn't,
right, that's the one, yeah.
nobody was good with throwing their personal emails
I
out.
mean, I could have, if you wrote back to me and said, answered it in a different color, I would have gladly copied it, pasted it, and sent it back to them, out of my email.
And that was my intention, but I wanted to talk with you about it,
Yeah, no,
and
I
we
mean,
just,
it's-
we didn't
I'm
get
trying
there,
to
so.
cut, because that's, seems
Here,
like a lot of
you've
money.
got so much to do, we're
Well,
trying to make it so that,
Collecting it a little at a time.
yeah,
I mean, I do that for others just because they don't want their personal email out there. I do it for other boards, like Park and Rec and things like that.
Let's just take it out of our budget and just have it for, the chairman have an email that they can,
So, because on the website, when it says email us at conservation, then he would just take that email and reply back from,
so if we get something in,
Mhm.
then all of us could say, hey, Andy, you ought to respond to
You have
this.
to be careful just
Yeah,
to
we
let you know
can't.
that because of the meeting.
Right, but I mean, if
You
one of
can't
us,
have a meeting outside of the,
usually one of us will send an email back to an inquiry, but, I mean, if he doesn't respond and just kinda nudge him, and say, hey, respond to this if you feel like it.
Or else.
Cause then he could respond from that email and copy the conservation one, and that would still all come back to us all.
Yeah.
You just have to start a
Maybe
fresh
like
email.
conservation chair at weare.nh.gov or something?
Mm.
Yeah,
And that's what, $6 a month?
Yeah.
So that's only what, $72 a year? We should have.
Yeah, but I
a
don't
budget.
break that out for everybody, I just didn't wanna do 6
Yeah.
times 12,
No,
you know, cause that's,
we definitely need one though, so if we
Yeah.
can do that. So, you know, I'd suggest we take that out of our budget if we
conservation
need it.
chair, is that close enough?
Yeah, I would say. It's anonymous enough.
Well, it knows who it is.
Well, that way if it changes, it can get handed off
So
too.
what I-
It's not,
Right.
you know,
Not anybody's name.
yeah.
Just gonna say if I put conservation chair at weare.nh.gov in the group, he would get it. But then you don't wanna do that.
No, we want it to be able to fire so that doesn't need to be there for inbound. You don't need that there on the website or
Just
anything.
outbound.
It's, yeah, so
so he can respond, yeah.
he needs to be able to log in whatever email service we use and fire off an outbound email. That's all we need it for.
The logistics aren't
Yeah, 'cause
perfectly
most
clear to
of
me
the-
tonight how I would get
Most
there.
of the groups don't get, I mean, Sherry's on the board members, and you're not supposed to reply back
Yeah.
because of the fact that that's illegal.
If everybody does it in the group, then it ends up being a meeting.
Conduct your
which
meeting
is
as-
not.
as a group and
Right.
not an individual. So even though Sherry gets one, we have board members at, they don't reply, it's all out. And then you make your decision, like we meet weekly, but you make your decision as to how you're gonna reply and who's gonna reply. And or let me know what you wanna say back.
Well, I mean, like say when, you know,
I mean, I can
Phil,
get-
when
I can
Phil
get
Phil
multiple
emailed
emails,
and
I'm
asked a
not
simple
gonna reply.
question, it's like, hey, here's a simple answer. But like that person there, I mean, like, if I craft a response to that issue in number 8, I'd just say, come on into a meeting, talk about it, it's just too much, you know, in that email. But that's all, I mean, just someone say, you know, yeah, we got it, we understand, we're not blowing you off, but.
Mhm.
Which is why I don't respond, so we're not creating a meeting.
Yeah, then you
I'm
can-
not ignoring
Yeah.
the
Right.
emails, I'm reading
I
them.
mean, we can do one more, it's not gonna break the bank with $6.
And how would I,
I have to ask someone else, that's above my
yeah,
pay grade.
technically
Hmm.
sort of jump so that I'm
I don't
responding
know,
from,
You'd be an
I know
authorized
how I
user
do
for
it.
that email address. The only other thing, whoever you're gonna talk to, I went through this recently, so I can receive emails from different, whatever, conservation, whatever, at DES, whatever. And I had to become authorized, and it's not like a simple thing to do, but through Outlook, you can authorize who can respond back from an email address. So there may be an option where somebody can actually respond from,
We're in the middle of migrating to
Conservation.
Outlook.
oh, it's not
Yeah.
Outlook, okay, okay.
Yeah,
We don't do Outlook. We wanna get over to Outlook,
yeah, that's what I got.
some dinosaur thing. We're out of the prehistoric age. But I can do another one at conservation chair at weare.nh.gov, that's fine.
Hmm.
but
And I'll just
the,
have
the,
somebody give you the specifics of how to get it.
And we wouldn't see those emails as a group.
No, that's gonna be his reply email. You'll
Just
still-
his
I'm still
reply.
gonna keep the other one. Cause that forwards to you as a group.
That way, if he does that, Ray, so he would reply from that email, and he could CC the
could-
conservation one, and it won't bounce. It'll go back to all of us, or to our,
He can include you in the CC,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
That sounds logical.
It does.
Yep.
One email.
So you just gotta find out, you know, if it's like a web hosted.
Like I said, I don't know how you
email.
get it from there, but I can hook you up with him.
okay. Thank you for
Okay.
working through that.
Not done yet. You
All
can
right,
you
I'll,
can thank me after.
sounds good. I think we've addressed
4.
4. Does everybody feel good with that?
Yeah,
This is about getting the minutes squared away.
yeah.
This is, 5 is something Matthias suggested. Do you know if we actually received anything from Matthias to speak to that? I didn't think, I mean, maybe I CC'd him on the agenda, but I did not knowingly receive anything speaking to the Phelps Farm timber harvest.
I did not see anything.
I didn't say anything either. I looked through a lot of stuff
Alright,
here.
Thing about the county report.
And I don't think that one's kicked off yet, but we certainly prepped for that in the fall. Actually, no, when was it? I guess
Yeah.
it could have been early fall.
Yeah.
Tick, it was still tick season, that's for sure. Remember all those
Alright,
two
so
things?
Remember all those?
Ugh.
this went out to, yeah, it went out to everybody from Matthias. Definitely. Whether it made it or not, but yeah.
What's the date on that?
Thursday, it says in here.
Really? I didn't see it, and I
Yeah.
went through a bunch of emails this week.
I forwarded it.
I'll look.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
there
we
was
got,
something with, that Matthias sent an email
yeah.
answering a few of the questions.
So the first paragraph was on the bid.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I asked him about the Barden lot, just because of the email we got, and there's no problems.
Mm-hmm.
He said he walked that one with good confidence, right?
Yeah,
That's the
yeah,
one.
Oh, I did see that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then we got the county lot report,
Mm-hmm.
and he said, I imagine Jared would have other items, maybe Felch Farm timber harvest, but Jared never reached out to me, so we've got nothing.
Okay,
So I think that got thrown on there, but we didn't get anything
all
on
right, so
that.
there's nothing to report.
Nope.
Okay.
Sorry, so jump right over to county lot. Could you carry that one, Steve?
Yeah, we just, so we all have the county lot report. I think we should give that to council and, seek Laura's advice on how she wants to proceed with quieting the title. And, maybe she wants to prepare an outreach based on everything we have now. She's got the other report, so I think that's what we need to do, and then, seek her counsel on how she wants to resolve the overall situation.
That's an interesting read, that report. That's pretty cool.
I was thinking that'd be an interesting job to have.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
That's a lot of work.
That's a lot of
It
fun
is.
researching,
It's
though.
so expensive to have stuff done. They did a lot of work.
Go to the library with the micro niche there.
Yeah.
Microfiche, yeah.
Yeah.
Fiche, yeah.
Ron's a pretty cool guy.
I spent a lot of time on
He's a good
researching
dude,
stuff.
a lot of,
Old homes here in town and stuff,
knowledge.
and when the land, the lots changed. Then going down to Nashua, Hillsborough County Record of Deeds. Spent hours,
Yeah.
days at a time.
Did you say you want it forwarded to Laura? I couldn't get it before, I could do this now.
you got it?
I
Yeah.
couldn't open it from my phone,
Oh,
I had to go in a different one.
okay. Yeah, I mean, I think that's all we need to do is just forward it to Laura and ask her how she wants to move forward on both parcels.
Let's be clear, both parcels meaning what, Steve?
Yeah, there's multiple, so the county
County lot,
lot and the,
Is it poor
Poor Farm.
Really, I'd say it'd be hard to dispute that our report is wrong. I mean, the proof is right there. All
Yeah.
the claims to back it up, so I would say quiet title would be the way to go.
Did this gentleman do both?
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, so she's got the totality of all the reports now, when you give her this, and just, I mean, however they wanna move forward, if they wanna contact Cogliano one more time, or try to contact him.
send a certified letter.
I mean, I think at this point, it's essentially however they wanna handle it, just to wrap this up. We need to just come to an agreement with him, or go to court, one or the other.
So you're sending that request along, Naomi?
Yeah,
Thank you.
Can we authorize her right now just to develop correspondence and send it to Cogliano on our behalf? I mean, we've got full trust in whatever they're gonna do. Do we need to vote on that or anything, or is that just something we can just suggest?
No, I think we can just let the record of the meeting indicate that, I don't know that we would have to vote that. If somebody wants to, we can entertain it, but.
No, I'm good with them. I mean, just to simplify this whole thing and move it along, I would just, you know, if they're comfortable contacting them, just let them do it on our behalf.
They, I'm sorry, I'm gonna be stickler. They being who?
Laura, Spector,
Yeah.
Morgan, or, what's the name of the company now? Are they, they changed,
Municipal Law Group,
yeah.
I don't think it's Weare, it's something like that, Municipal Law Group.
Also known as town council.
All right, so what we were saying, we want to indicate in our record of this meeting, or we want our record to indicate, is that we are looking for town council to address the adverse claim.
Directly with the claimant, if possible.
In Cogliano.
Yeah, or provide advice on how they wanna move forward. Just wanna get it moving.
Yeah? So we want town council to go provide, provide a response to the claimant, Cogliano. All right. Move on to number 7, we good?
Yeah.
Yeah, do we want volunteers? We have volunteers for potential trail work? We've got a couple folks here. Did we have one other
No, that was
email
them.
inquiry, or was it just this one?
Yeah, that was them.
Okay.
So who did we meet with that night where they were trying to coordinate with us? Is that planning board or is?
Yeah, that was, yeah, they never got back to us.
No, but she seemed to.
Yeah,
Danny
interested
J.
in starting something
I
like
was-
that, too.
I was gonna go meet a couple of people that came that night, but I ended up sick right after that meeting, and I don't know, I'll have to look and see if I can find her number. Because I told her I'd go up to Poor Farm and go through.
Yeah,
I just don't know if how the roads are, because I've had a couple of phone calls just today, in fact, saying the roads were horrible. That,
Yeah.
you know, if you go in there, you're gonna get hung up in the mud, so.
I just find it to be almost the same situation as we have in the snowmobile club, where we have people that come in that wanna volunteer things, but nobody in the club actually tells them anything. So everybody just kinda disappears, and then we complain that there's nobody to help us. So, kinda same thing, you can come in and say, we wanna volunteer for trail work, but if we can't tell you what you should be doing, then you're not gonna know. So we have to, we talked that night about forming a volunteer group. Somebody has to spearhead it, somebody has to take the reins and say, okay, we're gonna form a group that's gonna specifically establish walking trails in the town forests. We haven't had that yet. It's a big job. So we don't really know how to get it started.
Well, you could restart a trail subcommittee. I mean, part of the thing was we didn't, you know, you are kind of like confined a little bit by the baggage of state law that, you know, when there's a meeting, there's supposed to be minutes, and field sessions, there doesn't really need to be much for minutes, but everything has to get publicly posted. That's not a real big deal either, but, you know, so if there are people that want to do that, I mean, right now, there's some existing trails that are in need of, you know, just some TLC, and then forget about even like, you know, adding more, so there's quite a bit to do out there, but, so that's one, you know,
It's hard.
good, yeah.
I'll try to look here in the next week or so if it dries up a little bit. Take a look at Poor Farm.
That's just been my experience with all of this, whether it's here or in our other clubs and stuff.
Yeah.
It's just hard to get everybody on the same page, even myself. I've been part of the snowmobile club for a number of years. I still don't know where some of the trails are. I don't know what I'm allowed on. There's some private land, you have to let people know before you go. If you're gonna do any kind of brushing or trail maintenance. So I don't wanna get in trouble, so I don't do anything.
Should put a list together,
Huh?
the snowmobile club.
Yeah.
Could put a list together of privately owned trails and
We tried,
contact.
yeah. It's hard.
Yeah.
Like Vincent State Forest doesn't allow any kind of mechanical equipment. Well, normally, we like to take our little mini excavator through the trails and do the brushing. It's a lot easier than do it by hand.
Yeah.
You're not allowed there.
Right.
Well, I don't know where the boundaries are. so
Right. Yeah, that's
I don't
it. You gotta
go
have-
anywhere near there.
Yeah, you need to go out with somebody that knows where stuff is at least once and go through it.
It's all volunteer, so it's very hard to
Get people together.
get people together at the same time
Yeah,
to do this.
yeah,
We've done miles of it around Mount William. That's all private land.
yeah,
So I can go in there and brush and take care of the trails and not worry about getting in trouble. I
Right.
just talk to Chris and, hey,
Yeah.
we're doing this. But a lot of the trail systems were going on federal lands,
yeah.
Army Corps lands.
Yeah, you
Those
go
are
down
all
through
different
East Weare.
regulations there, and so,
Yeah.
even putting up signs, we have to make sure that, so this is kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
And then, like you say, if we have
They used to,
established people tell them what to do, is it considered a meeting? Does it have to be public record? Geez, that makes it really hard, because,
well, I'll just try to go up myself and walk in there and see what kind of a mess it is.
Well, just for the record, we did have one more email inquiry
Oh, we did?
for a volunteer. And I'll just read this. My name is Mary Louise. My son Luke is a senior at John Stark. We'd like to attend an upcoming meeting on February 8th. Could someone reach out to me? I would like to learn more about volunteering for trail maintenance as a senior capstone project. Mary, and we have some contact information there. So just wanted to have that recognized. That was back on February 7th.
She was replied to.
Yeah.
Seems like just maintaining, it sounds like there are some trails on Poor Farm, and just maintaining trails that already exist is a much lighter lift than
Right.
organizing a subcommittee to build new trails.
Well, you
What
gotta
would
have
the
some
rules
equipment.
be around, right, yeah, around just having us or this high school senior just go out to a property and
And,
clean things up, you know?
I mean, that would still probably, you know, if we were got all, well,
well,
what,
couldn't
four
we
of us
just
go?
post it? Could we
Yeah, you just posted
do a
it.
posting and just say volunteers working on Poor Farm trails and the date, probably? Maybe
well,
the
around
date.
Farron Pond, when the Boy Scouts did that trail, what process that was used to establish that?
Yeah, no, it's only if we're there. I mean, if there's a board there, it has to be posted, you know, a quorum of a board there. Or if we expect that. Otherwise, it really doesn't.
And
Just talk about it here and authorize it.
I think, and I don't know if you guys do, but there was and I may have one, there was a little brochure that was sent out, and it showed the loop and a little map inside.
Yeah.
Yep, that's on the website.
It's on the website? Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, in that case, you gotta be aware that part of that is on PLC of that loop. So, I mean, that's the thing too, is just, so our boundaries are blazed in yellow. So, you know, the trees are barked and painted. And then, I don't know what PLC's running with for color. I know the state forest running with blue.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if PLC, but PLC's got these little placards
They
on a lot of
they
their
got
properties,
triangle
too.
plackets, don't they?
Yeah, yeah. So you can tell when you're onto their property. So yeah, I mean, there's a couple parcels that, you know, we've got some roads or trails that could be you know, kept open to start with, kinda. And I think we've got, does the trail thing that we had Sinuosity do, does that have, they GPS kinda where some of the trails were already, right?
Who did that?
Sinuosity.
I think so.
Yeah, we'd have to go digging, but I think we've got a report that does show where some of the stuff was. Poor Farm might be a little hard to find all of it, cause we did a pretty heavy harvest in there and then it's kinda grown in a lot.
Maybe Sherry could bring you out next time she's out there, or just give you a heads up that she's gonna be out there if you.
Yeah, if you give me a phone number or something so I can get a hold of you.
Definitely. Sure, yeah. Do you like us to email it, or just, we gotta do it by hand?
Um,
Happy to-
I can give you my email if somebody's got a thing, all right? And then you can email me and then I'll have yours and,
Which is nice part of it, where I set up. It needs to have one. Sure, they can use the town one if you wanted.
oh, yeah,
Ask Burdick at Weare.nh.gov,
Where-
yeah.
yeah,
Sure, not sign on the front page.
yeah.
Yeah, we've all got each other's emails anyhow, cause I think when I emailed you guys
Yeah,
back,
they're
you got
all
all of
copied,
ours.
yeah.
Yeah, you got them all, we got them,
Yeah.
everybody's got them.
Yeah, I haven't been in there for quite a while. Probably before, just before they cut, actually, was the last time I walked through there, and that was what, 8 years ago now, maybe? Since
Yeah,
they
I've been in
cut?
there hunting since, I mean, it's,
Yeah, I haven't been in.
The Poor Farm near Farron, or Poor Farm near the dump?
No, Poor Farm is over off of, Lowell Road.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, near the dump is Felch Farm.
That's Felch, yeah.
yeah, there's roads in there, there aren't really trails. We got a logging job coming up that we talked about trying to make some of the skid roads into trails when they're done with it.
They'll really clear a
Yeah.
real path out, maybe on the, toward the perimeter, and then make a couple of crisscrosses in there somewhere. And then if somebody wants to walk somewhere else, they can, but,
Do you two primarily like hike or mountain bike or,
All of the above, and a lot of trail running, cross-country
Okay.
skiing, and
cool?
And that Poor Farm is fairly close to where you guys, no?
No, no,
You-
no.
You said the one that
we're actually right near your Hardwick lot.
they're up
Yeah,
Abijah
Oh, right.
Bridge area,
yeah.
Right
Yeah.
Near the river, yeah.
yeah. So if you come down through onto 149, and then up Perkins Pond Road, straight up, you'll hit Lowell.
Yep.
And after you go through Lowell, there's a dirt road to your right, and take that and go up in there. It's probably a couple of miles. But the roads have been awful.
Right.
People have been, have not even getting to their houses. They said they were parking on the side of the roads and walking the last
Yeah.
quarter of a mile a couple of times. It's just a bad year. We've had a lot of rain, and early on, it's just the ground's, just plain mud.
Yeah, it doesn't freeze consistently.
Yeah, and it's not, yeah, right, this week's probably not too bad if you go up early in the morning, because the ground's gonna be kind of set up, but
Yeah, and the sun gets on it.
when the sun gets on it, it just gets mushy, and you just,
Say, that Toby Hill area's got some wicked potential. I mean, so that goes all the way now down to the, Wolf Creek. That's kinda neat too, that,
Yeah.
in that Wolf Creek area. So there's a bunch of parcels that are all run into each other in there.
No, well, that's what I was gonna ask. This is like a good, first small step, just
Right.
kinda getting some maintenance on what's already out there, and maybe you get some traction from there. Are there any other parcels you can think that,
Toby Hill's open, pretty good. 'Cause I was up there last fall, I cleaned the cemetery out up there. It was all full of brush. It was one piece I couldn't move, but the rest of it, I just chucked it over the stone wall, so that's pretty open, but they get in there with the four-wheelers and make a mess.
Well, that was what I was kind of thinking in there, it'd be cool to have footpaths that run alongside where the ATVs go, because it gets
It's so muddy.
disgusting,
Yeah.
it's like sitting
Could-
water and
Yeah, and it's
fully.
8, 10 inches deep or a foot deep in places. I know, I went in there and I had rubber boots on.
Yeah,
And it's a good thing.
yeah.
But actually, I
Bushwhacked or
I
not.
jumped the wall and then I walked on the back side because it got so bad.
Similar thing,
Yeah.
That's a class 6 where the problem is, though, you're talking about, right? Where that big puddle is up in there?
There's more than one now.
So that's,
They
you know,
dig the hell up, they did really dig it up.
that's the weird thing that I think has always been a challenge conceptually that I keep kind of beating on is really a successful trail network is more than just conservation land. You know, you gotta incorporate, so the class 6, I don't know if you know what that whole like road class system, so like, you know, the class 5 is an active town maintained road, class 6 is discontinued, not discontinued, but it's.
non-maintained.
Not maintained, yeah, discontinued could be into like trail.
If it's
We haven't done that.
discontinued, then the town won't touch it. Subject, and it's, you know,
Yeah, it goes back to the,
landowners.
all right, so then there's that other thing that you can turn it into a trail. Remember Deering did that? They took some of the roads out there and
That were non-maintained.
turned them
stuff.
into,
Yeah.
yeah, there's a different designation. Anyhow, so it's like, so we don't actually manage the class 6 roads, the selectmen's, so if
Yeah, and
we're
if
doing
they,
something there, we need to ask them.
well, and if that's going through private property on both sides, I mean, really, you can't do anything, you know?
Oh, yeah, I mean, you'd have to stay on the road, wherever the road is. I mean, I don't know what how
Oh,
many
the-
rods wide that is.
Oh, it's pretty good, it's pretty wide.
There's no like HEV club, the way there's like the Weare Winter Wanderers.
They tried.
Yeah.
The problem is, there's a lot of opposition to ATVs.
Because they,
Snowmobiles, it's a well-known fact.
Yeah.
They cause no destruction.
Yeah, it's just on top
I
of
mean, you're riding on top of hard-packed snow, come springtime, you never know the snowmobiles were there.
Yes.
And we still have a hard time keeping trails open and complaints because ATVs go on our trails, and they're not supposed to.
yeah,
And it's very hard to police that. And so up north, they have ATV trails, but the land is devastated. And I have an ATV, but you can't use it anywhere. So, as much as I like the thing, it's destructive.
Yeah.
And any, you know, they can't argue with you, you just show what they did for,
Yeah.
so the erosion that it causes and
yeah,
everything.
it's awful, yeah.
So the ATV club wanted to piggyback onto our snowmobile club trail system, and we told them you can't, because the landowners we have permission with only allow snowmobiles.
Yeah.
And a lot of the conservation land that we ride on specifically states it's only for winter use by the snowmobilers. And the club takes care of those trails year-round. And the club tries to be a good steward of the land. So our volunteers in the club go and brush the trails, keep them open. People use them with landowner permission. They can walk those trails in the summertime, they can cross-country ski. And since we groom the trails, they're nice cross-country
Yeah.
ski trails, and that's fine. We like that. But for ATVs, if they went on the same trails, they would destroy everything. And it's too bad to say, but you can't argue the point that an ATV will make a mess out of the ground. You know, if everybody was nice and careful and rode slow and easy, that'd be one thing.
Yeah, they don't.
They don't. So they have tried to establish a club, and there is a club. I forgot what it's called, Merrimack Valley Trail Riders. There's certain areas that they ride in, but they're having a harder time than us expanding their trail system for that same reason.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's just the way it is.
Well, the dirt bikes too down in Clough State,
Dirt
they
bikes.
made an awful mess down there. I used to mountain bike in there a lot years ago, and it got so bad, I mean, the tree roots were all out. You know, you're riding a trail and, you know, you tie, it goes over the root, but then it goes down in this big hole and you're stopped, or you're off the bike. Yeah,
They'd have a hard time getting traction. And we talked about it, because it would be nice, because up north, around Columbia, way up north, you know, Lancaster and all that, there's a ATV club up there, and they maintain the trails year-round, and the snowmobilers also use the same trails. But there's a lot less people up there, even though everybody that owns an ATV goes up there. They just allow it. But around here, with the population you have, it would just devastate everything, there'd be so much of it. can't say it won't happen, but I doubt it.
Hmm.
You know, so that's where we're at with that. So the snowmobile club pretty much takes care of all of the Clough State Park trails. We brush a lot of that stuff and maintain that year round. With Vincent State Forest, we do that all by hand. And all the private landowners, some of them we can take our ATVs on. We put a sign saying trail maintenance, Weare Winter Wanderers. We don't go tearing up the land, we just use it. We're not gonna walk 3 miles to go maintain a trail. So we're allowed to do that, and that's how we do it. But we kinda like to have the same kind of program on the town's forest lands, where we would have volunteers that would go and brush trails the same way.
Yeah.
You know? But it's hard to get that off the ground, you know? And the biggest thing, like I said before with me, is as much as I would like to go do more, I'm afraid to, because I don't wanna get in trouble. I don't know where I should go or shouldn't go half the time. So,
Well, Fair and Pond's pretty good. I was up there and walked that this summer. Fair and Pond's in nice shape. I don't know if you've been up there. Yeah. Yeah.
Great. That's good stuff. I mean, that's, having, conserved lands without, having folks appreciate them is not a good recipe for success. And so, glad you guys are interested, glad you have some experience being out there, and hopefully we can funnel your interest into something that's satisfying to you and helpful to others in town. It sounds promising. All right, let's move on to number 8.
You know what, on that note, we probably should have had supper before.
Yes, you see, these things, it's been a long time, but
Yeah, yeah.
these things can take us,
Few hours.
it's been a long time since we've done that, but we've probably gone as late as 10:30 before. Hopefully not tonight, but thank you, and come
Yeah.
on back, keep in touch with us. Thank you for carving some time out, and hope the rest of your evening is good for you.
Yeah, we'll be in touch for.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
For
I'll
more.
send you an email.
Yeah.
okay, sure.
Thanks for coming.
Nice meeting you all.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Number 8 is a email from Eldon Town sent on February 16th. And it goes something like this. Lack of following simple Roberts rules, and I think what we need to do tonight is talk about a response, and then hopefully, Naomi, you could respond for us on this one.
I can do what?
Send an email response to the February 16th email from Eldon, based on what we discuss here. Where are the minutes, this is what Eldon wrote, for near half of 22 and continuing 23. Why has the CC failed to uphold its end of the contingency agreement placed by Selectman Meany on the Barden land? If building was demolished by the end of the 90-day contingency as agreed, the town would have beat the inflation costs and saved taxpayer money. Another point I'd like to raise concern is the signed document of contingency is not available in the minutes. It shows no signature. I was present at this meeting and remember chairman signing reluctantly but pushed by vice chair and member Bolton. I'd also like to know why there is no YouTube recording. There was no power outage when I was present. After reflecting on reviewing the deed of the Barden land, I was concerned to realize the deed notes land is bordered by wall surrounding stone wall. As the survey was presented at the meeting, it showed a rather large gap in the wall. The deed showed no coordination or measurement or statement of such gap. My concern with waiving a survey for purchase, I would like an answer as to where the border goes in the gap of the wall. Thank you, Eldon Towns. So, we're working on the minutes. We've had disruption. It's unfortunate, but we're working to backfill there. Truth be told, yes, when we don't have the minutes within the stipulated time frame, we're not where we need to be according to state law. And anybody else want to chime in on the minutes thing regarding the question here? Okay.
I don't, I kind of struggle whether we give a line-by-line answer or just say there's a lot there and really want to discuss it, come on in.
Well, that would certainly,
I don't know if that's a,
YouTube is there,
It's up on YouTube.
11/3/21.
The Barden land, is that the one he wanted to buy too?
yeah.
Yeah,
So-
We don't know that officially,
No, but,
yeah,
seemed that way.
so, you know where the boundaries are.
yeah.
I don't know,
I don't wanna sound rude, but what's it to him?
there's a gap along the north boundary
along the
because
wall.
there's a big beaver pond.
Right,
Yes.
but it's still a straight line,
It's
Yeah,
a
there's
straight
no
line,
issue
yeah.
there with the boundary.
so why would we wanna know this?
All right,
My
And-
question would be, if they're that curious, why don't they attend the meetings,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And why don't you volunteer, we have a vacancy.
for a reason, we have not completed the demolition of the building yet.
You're looking for a company to come in and remove the asbestos.
Right.
Well, we were going through the town purchasing policy to actually do the sampling and doing 2 buildings at once. I mean, that took a long time. Selectmen have been up to date on it, right? So it's
Yeah,
not really that big of an issue. So now we do have asbestos. We've got to deal with that and put a contract out for it.
All right. Gap in the wall.
yeah.
Naomi, would you, dear Eldon, Commission read your email at meeting and find it a lot to unpack. Please consider bringing your concerns to us directly so that we can have a good conversation and try to address your concerns to your
Satisfaction.
time limit or satisfaction. Thank you for your interest, blah, 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 blah. I don't know.
I mean, I'll take a stab at answering it for you if you want.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, we can't,
It's one of those
we
friendly-
can't have a substantial back and forth by email.
No.
That just doesn't
Doesn't work.
serve.
You can just say, there is a YouTube video, I mean, I saw it, it's there.
Yeah.
It's handy, the chairman.
Yeah, well, I don't know about
If
that.
you're polite, and then just invite them into the next meeting.
Yeah,
I don't know, we need to reinforce that point. This is where we can address best any residents' concerns about our work or about conservation items in town.
mm-hmm.
We always meet on the same second Wednesday a month, we've been doing this for decades. Come on out and, if somebody says I can't make it at night for this, that, or the other thing, I don't know, we're perhaps at loggerheads there. It can be, I guess, become a correspondence.
Well, you could write a short note saying, we're doing the best we can, if you think you can help us out, come on in. That's basically what you said, come meet us anyway, but.
Right.
I mean, anybody's that interested should be part of the group.
We are aware of your concerns and are working as best we can to
Resolve.
move the process along, and
Okay.
we are not concerned about stone wall gaps, largely based on, water course that has developed over the years.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's not, I mean, there's a property description, and you have foresters out there blazing it, saying they're having no problems finding the boundary, that's that. I
That's
mean,
that. Anything else you say becomes almost apologetic.
Yeah,
We have nothing to apologize for. The boundaries are there. They were walked with great confidence by the foresters and stuff.
Yeah.
That's it.
All right, any other thoughts on the
No.
inquiry? Okay.
I would suggest that if he does wanna come in, that he gets on the agenda, cause it's gonna chew up a little bit of time.
Yep.
So if you ask, someone can come in here and sit here and watch, but if you really got a question, a long agenda item,
Yeah.
you should let us know to get it on there.
Yep.
I agree. All right, fill us in a little bit, Steve, on the concept of a conservation.
Oh, no,
Yes, well,
we've already
you're-
batted this around, so that, we were trying to finalize it, cause Laura was off a little bit, and I've been kinda off. That's that same thing that we were dealing, I thought it was gonna be like, that's that mapping tool that's gonna be like accessible from the town website, and you'll be able to go look, interactively look at features on the parcels as anybody, just like this thing here, this Granite View, same kinda idea. But it didn't, we were trying to just go through it one more time before me and her were gonna get together, and then I was gonna try to demo it tonight, but that
All
didn't
right,
happen.
so this is
Yeah,
Another
we're
time.
just basically looking for a rollout this year.
yeah, absolutely. Yep.
Is that like a satellite thing that can look down and?
No, it's data, it's just like this, like Granite View, so there's, a series of different data layers, like, so
Yeah.
that's either a satellite image or an aerial, it's probably a satellite image. This is like, these polygons are from, National Wetlands Inventory in this case. There's just like all these different sources of data,
Yeah.
and then you just kinda click on them, like ones that you want active on the, on the visual, on the map. And you can print them out from there if you want,
I didn't know if it was the same thing. We looked, my son and I looked into a service, costs a minimum of $10,000. But the satellite can view something down to 3 centimeters
yeah.
anywhere.
Wow.
It's mostly for farmers and stuff to see how their crops.
Crops are
doing.
growing and stuff.
We wanted it because of the land up north that we had. We wanted to monitor it on a daily basis, which you can monitor it minute by minute. It's 10 grand just to take care of that area, so we're not doing that.
Yeah, I think you pass on that.
I didn't know if that was the same idea, that would be cheaper that we could use.
Well, what do you, usually for land management, kind of the existing, Granite data, if nothing's changed, it's usually pretty good for that.
Yeah. This service here was basically for surveillance, I think.
I'll put some
Do it
cameras
3
in.
times a day, and it'll be a different shot each time.
Interesting,
Pretty good, but pretty expensive too, so
super.
we're not doing that.
All right. Beth has put together a spreadsheet to try to better track our Meadows End invoices,
Yeah.
and I think she sent that out. Did that just go out to Steve and me, or did everybody see
I
the
saw
one
it.
from Beth today? Went to- All right.
Mm-hmm.
So there's progress on that request.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Got the vendor shown, invoice number, the date, the received date. And this is something where we probably want to fill in the gaps. the forestry services agreement associated with it, the brief, a bit of or project description, how much the invoice is for, what fund it's coming from, who approved it, what meeting it was closest to, or just what meeting would post-date the receipt of the invoice. And then finally, a payment processed date. So, yay, thanks.
That's
Beth.
nice.
And with that, there are 2 invoices, I think, to approve.
Yeah, so first one is not something we have pre-authorized, so make a motion to pay the New Hampshire timberland owners annual dues out of conservation account for $40.
I think she has an operating budget.
Well, yes, we did mention that, didn't
She
we?
has OB for operating budget.
Yes, yes, yes. Right, we did,
Are we paying that out of the operating budget?
can we, at this point? Did we, yeah, I mean, how would that work?
Everybody has, you have to keep operating until next week, but $40
Yeah.
is dues.
Mhm.
Yeah, right, we do have a dues line.
We can't go into buying anything that's in proposed, that's not in default.
So do we have enough between that and the annual Conservation Commission Association dues? That usually comes out of the operating budget, right?
Right, and the short answer is yes, because we
haven't spent
we
it.
can borrow from other budget lines that we have maintained in our budget, so it's not going to jeopardize the potential payment of New Hampshire Association of Conservation Commission dues.
Okay, so rehash that, just make a motion to pay that TOA membership out of the operating budget and have Andy sign it, or just Andy email that we're approving.
Now, you saying a motion, Steve, have you come upon something that suggests we need a motion for every invoice approval?
No, I don't think we've authorized this one, is what I was saying.
Gotcha.
The other ones have been like pre-authorized, where we said just go ahead and pay it.
I remember saying operating budget. I remember that discussion.
I don't remember it.
All right, so this would be the authorization behind
Yeah.
the payment.
Yeah.
Do we have a second on Steve's motion?
Second.
Further discussion? There being none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, it's all in favor, okay. Thanks for chiming in, Naomi, that was helpful. Reminder, yes, the OB is there. And the other one, Steve,
Yeah, the last meeting, we had, I forget how much we set aside, I don't have that in front of me, but this seems like far less than we set aside, just paying it out of conservation for Ron's letter of opinion, and for, then the rest of it's just, admin time dealing with the project from MTL's side of things, so.
now did we catch that one on an FSA or no? It was it'd go back to the hourly on that one?
Well, it's on, no, you say, yeah, we authorized an amount, which I don't, yeah, I think it was up to like $1,000 or something like that, that was 2 months ago. So that's on the YouTube.
Yeah.
I don't have any notes. And then we, the rest of it's just hourly.
That was January you did that, you think?
I think so. Had to have been December, January.
February you didn't meet, so, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because remember, like, we had that Ron's email, and it was hard to decipher, and we were like, well, let's just
I
have
wasn't
something
here in
more.
December or January.
Yeah, we had this.
I have notes on that at home, I just didn't get them in with me today.
So we authorized it out of conservation, and I'm sure we authorized way more than what this bill's for. If you wanna do another motion, just, we could, but doesn't really matter. Just need to tell her to pay it.
Yep, I'll do that.
Good deal.
That brings us down to monuments on Duck Pond and Cortland Development.
Yeah, it's just kinda trying not to drop the ball. Did they ever, whatever happened with them paving Cortland and closing that project out?
I don't, they were gonna request it, they haven't done it yet.
So it's still a private road.
Do they get to drag that on like forever, or?
We had one drag on for 11 years, so.
Really? They maintained it for 11 years? Wow.
That's crazy.
So technically,
Then they were
if they,
upset that I asked them for 25% of a warranty bond. He says it's been there for 11 years, and I'm like, I don't care, the regulations say once you want me to approve it, I take 2 years. So,
so
we
everybody
still
that
have money
lives,
there for the top coat.
everybody that lives in those subdivisions is paying taxes, but they still are at the mercy of the developer to plow the road?
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying, yeah.
And the
But
developer,
that's what happens when you lend money and, all those houses are, and a couple of them have flipped twice. I've already flipped them,
what,
flipped up here too, a couple of,
at Duck Pond? Really?
Portland has flipped a couple.
Wow.
So that's why the developer has to do a bond, because if he goes belly up,
We still
and
have
his
money.
monuments and stuff aren't in, that has to come out of the bond to finish that subdivision, right?
Yeah.
And if he walks away and we wanna finish it, we have his money.
So if we need to go in and put the top coat on, then the town has to do it.
Wouldn't it be in his best interest to get his bond back?
Hmm,
You know, the problem, the big picture problem is if improvements ended up on town property, it's a fiasco. We don't really know that, that's,
yeah, you don't know where stuff is, don't know where the boundaries are.
well, yeah, it's amazing that banks will finance stuff and then they just, they go out there and just check it.
Every single one of those,
Yeah,
14 or 16 of them. At least further down, up here, not so much, they did do the first phase, but they haven't done much more.
was that 10 houses? Was that 10 houses they put in?
That was 12.
12? I don't know, I'm just asking you, I thought I'd heard 10, but I don't,
But next is gonna be a huge, there's a road build,
yeah,
and nobody's doing it now because interest rates are up.
yeah. The housing market's gonna go,
All right, so that waiting game goes on.
No, that was one of them. So I remember we had a discussion, Naomi, you were gonna try to call Tebow and just see if they'd plan on surveying that out, or?
Yeah, I don't know if they're not selling anything, probably the answer's no.
mm-hmm,
You know,
Do you have like an email address from them or something that do you want us to shoot them an email, or do you?
well, I don't mind shooting them one, but I think they'll wanna answer for a long time, because if they're not doing the next phases,
yeah, they
as
don't,
the
yeah,
next phase goes upwards, then the next two go down towards,
Duck Pond,
this way.
yeah.
The next phase is up on the hill towards Dimitri's.
So then, I mean, Tebow's not even really doing the work though, right? They're just,
Subbing it out,
yeah,
Now they run out of the road, they put in the road.
yeah, way back in,
Yeah, they put in the road, and now those houses those lots are gone. So the next phase has to be.
Well, right, they did the easy part of the road. Next phase is
Yeah.
not so easy.
yeah.
so I mean, if the road was only in part of that, don't they lose their protection from the change in zoning? You know, that whole argument about whether you've made significant improvements and that,
Well, I think that's why you pay the first phase. Yeah, I'm not sure if he's gonna do the next phase.
yeah, 'cause,
A lot of cut and fill.
yeah. But when do they lose kind of that,
The ability to,
well, be exempt from zoning changes? So I don't know if that thing even conforms anymore with current zoning, if it does or not, but,
I
it
think
leaves us in a,
the easy part's done,
yeah.
and I think it's gonna take some big to do the next
Yeah,
Yeah.
with the interest rates up.
They're not gonna
I
borrow.
just don't see, things have slowed down.
Yeah.
Prices haven't dropped, but I think things have slowed down.
are they
They've
still as
changed the
big?
zoning there since that was approved?
We might have
That one
tweaked,
was quite a while
yeah, it
ago.
was a long time ago. We might have tweaked the, open space one, I don't know.
And Paul Moran was chair of the planning board, I think.
That's long time ago.
That long?
Yeah,
Yeah, 20?
Wow.
You talking 20 years ago?
2006, 7?
Getting close.
yeah. Yeah, it's crazy, huh, time
Wow.
flies.
Yeah, because then we had the moratorium and then it had to come back.
Are they as big as they used to be? Cause I don't see their, I mean, like, back in the day, they're doing huge jobs, like, they
No,
did something on the track and
They
station.
pretty much whittled down to almost nothing.
Yeah.
I think everybody did when pandemic strikes.
Really, yeah.
The problem is, we're always on conservation behind the eight ball.
Yeah.
At the less than tender mercy of, others to allow us to keep track of anything
Mm.
on these ones. So,
Yeah.
I don't know how we set ourselves up differently in the future.
Well, yeah, I mean, the problem is, well, I think Craig's doing some stuff differently now. I don't think this kind of thing's ever gonna happen again, but,
Yeah,
we accepted deeds on something that wasn't monumented, which is the root of the problem.
right.
And it's not like they're simple
It's
shapes
horrible.
either.
No, it's not a square.
No. See, I thought I had read way back in the zoning that it had to be contiguous. If you had a 2-acre lot, you couldn't have 10 different spots of dry land and say, oh, there's the square footage. It had to be all in one spot. Somehow that didn't go
Oh, no,
that over there.
not at all. And it's just,
It worked out for one, a fairly small one.
yeah,
Actually, they shaped it so that
yeah, he filled.
PLC would take an easement on it
Yeah.
gladly. I mean, it was nicely done, but
Okay.
that depends on the property, depends on the developer, depends on the engineering advice, all sorts of things that go into it.
It's interesting to see both sides though, because I sell material to a developer. I won't even mention names. But if you hear him talk, his side of the argument is, oh, people need housing, people need this, people need that. They're preventing me from doing this, and they want 5-acre lots, and this and that, and that's ridiculous. I'm standing there saying, well, I wish they had 10-acre
10-acre
lots.
lots, yeah.
But,
They do on dirt roads.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's like, you try to see both sides, there's two separate sides of it all. But I used to build houses too, but I was always very conscious where I bought the land. It had to be someplace that was good for nothing else, so.
Well, what they're doing now is they're taking all the field land and they're plopping houses in these beautiful fields. And you think about it, probably's not gonna hurt us, but a couple of generations down the road, they're gonna be trying to grow food for the Northeast, because they're not gonna have it coming from the,
It's not just that, it's the traffic. We're already having trouble maintaining the roads we have. Put more traffic on them, you're gonna have more trouble, which causes more frustration. That's why the closer you get to a big city,
the more
the
problem.
nastier the driving gets.
Yeah,
And we notice this when we go way up north. Everybody's so friendly. You're sitting at an intersection, somebody will wave you on. Everybody waves, because there's no congestion, so nobody's in a big
nobody's
rush.
stressed out.
You come
Yeah.
around here and everybody's trying to get to where they're going. Well,
Yeah.
the more houses you add,
Yeah,
the more traffic you get,
yeah,
Especially when you add it on a main road, like what's going on in Goffstown with those.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, come on.
yeah. Yeah, they're just packing them in and they're right there on the road. I mean, there's, 5 feet from the state highway? They got a fence?
I don't understand.
I don't know
how
who the
that
hell would wanna live there.
Some-
Not me.
Maybe.
I don't think they're that cheap.
I know,
They're
but
not
I'm
cheap.
not.
They're not cheap at all. They're very exciting. I think they were going for like 400,000.
Yeah, that's what I had heard.
A unit. to
Oh,
live
that
10 feet
location.
away from, everybody's in this, I
Yeah.
call them the chicken coops.
Yeah,
But that's gonna be bad
oh, yeah.
in the future.
Well, and
And it's coming here.
it pushes, it pushes, it pushes,
Keeps,
it pushes,
this
yeah.
keeps gonna keep moving out.
And I know a lot of people will argue with me and say, well, geez, yeah. But I remember when I was a kid, there used to be somebody that rode their horse and buggy up Route 114. And we used to go by Lang Todd's old store, and remember that? Well, that's gone.
Lang Todd's old store?
Lang Todd, when they had the old house,
Yeah,
remember that old house?
There's
Oh.
Little Red's,
Yeah.
right there in the gas station, Little Red store.
yeah, the Little Red Store, yeah.
So, that's what it was, that's what it is way up north now. And they welcome new people up there.
Yeah.
They don't realize what's gonna happen.
Well, not
All right,
yet.
I'm gonna pull the reins back on this one.
Yeah.
Let's keep going. But, good points, for sure. It's a vision, some of it's not always promising. But it's good to be a welcoming town. Hopefully we can maintain some spirit that's a little bit different, for a little bit longer anyways. I'm gonna suggest we punt on the Eastman site visit until next month, and anticipated bare ground.
Well,
Why
I
don't
mean,
you
I was
just
thinking
say
we'd set a
in
date, right?
April, end of April or something?
Yeah, I was gonna try to set a date for the beginning of April, before the next meeting.
I gotta talk faster, Steve. What would you suggest? Let's,
Well, cause I mean, daylight savings is kicking in, so like like maybe the April 5th in the afternoon, like, I don't know, if people can make it at like 5 o'clock, we'll have enough daylight to,
What's April 5th? What day is it?
Wednesday.
Wednesday?
you guys gonna make a cake for me? It's my birthday.
Oh, it is, okay, we do it. How about April 4th, Tuesday?
Can make a cake for you.
April 4th is yeah, I'd be better on a Tuesday.
And what time, so I wonder what the sunset is for April 4th?
Well,
It'll be after
Daylight
5.
savings time this weekend.
yeah.
Yeah, I know, so I
They're
mean, that's
saying
gotta push it to like
after 6, it's before the sun sets next week, so.
7 something. Yeah, so if we meet at 5, we got plenty of time to boogie in there and look at that.
And where were we meeting? Ruffle Road?
No, the idea was to meet behind,
I say we just meet up at the, high school parking lot there. and
Oh,
then
high
kinda
school parking lot, okay.
One day,
The 4th,
4th at 5 PM would be the
that's
tentative,
Tuesday.
yeah.
yeah. High school parking lot. Just don't bring any guns.
you never know anyways.
Yeah.
All right. Why don't you pitch that to Matthias? Actually, no. Tell him that's what we selected. He's
Maybe
working for us. Make sure he can cover that.
you guys will send an email out anyway. Reminder.
Yeah, so sunset's 7:14, so that means actual dark is like 7:45, so there's plenty of time.
Plenty, yeah. Naomi, can you make note to post that as a special meeting site? Or forest walk? I don't know how you keep track of as much as you do. All right. DES correspondence. There's a forest permit by notification. So that's,
Where's that one?
tax map 202, lots 72, 73, and 77. I do not know where that is. Well, I know the name St. Ange. And 18 Rockland Road is a home address. I do not know whether it is near about that address or not. But standard conditions of a permit by notification apply.
That was for forestry work, you said?
Yes. Administratively complete and met the requirements. With standard conditions.
How much forest work do you have to do to initiate a permit?
By notification, I don't know.
Like a timber cut?
Yeah, it's.
That's what it's geared towards, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Not just going out in your backyard and cutting down 5, 6
Some
trees?
cordwood.
no.
That's got to do with the crossing or, you know, I mean, there's a bunch of different reasons. I think.
All right, I don't see any planning board items, so X that one off.
Only one lot line adjustment, but it's 2 lots now, it'll be 2 lots when it's done.
So, we're not gonna consider anything there. Naomi, when do the selectmen typically get a little bit of lighter load after they're settled into the new board?
We're going to every Monday night.
Pardon?
We're going to every Monday night with the first and third as business and the second and fourth as work sessions.
We're busy.
There's a lot of things that slip through the cracks that we're trying to catch back up.
Does it cycle to something typically better suited to managing or to hearing or considering non,
Yeah,
Critical
I mean,
items,
like
does-
next
I mean-
week is busy, the week after we'll have a member, maybe 2 new members.
yeah, it makes sense to talk after the new members are
So
situated.
you're gonna have to give them a few minutes. You know, July is when people sometimes disappear for vacation if they get some.
Maybe toward the end of May or early April.
May, you've got Memorial Day.
Oh,
All right, so it's, you okay, Steve, we punt that to the April meeting to figure out a date?
Yeah, sure.
Want to talk about gravel pit, et cetera?
Shooting range.
Yep.
The Board of Selectmen are elected, you have to vote for them?
Mm-hmm.
Next
You
Tuesday.
have to like campaign and everything?
Well,
Pretty
some do,
limited,
some
but
don't.
Tomorrow night, there's a forum to talk to.
Really?
Meet the candidates at the middle school. What are you doing tomorrow night?
I'm not going there.
All right,
It's
Gravel.
worth doing a little research on who's running. We'll see
Can you
that.
imagine me politicking? Oh my God.
all right, so moving on to number 16, we have a warrant article. Vote for it come Tuesday. Article 17 would allow us to give us an allowance on the town forest account to the tune of $20,000. So we survived deliberative and sit there at number 17.
Yeah, I looked on YouTube, there was like no one said anything about it, you know, no questions or nothing like
Good.
that.
And then, agenda item number 17, following the first Conservation Commission meeting, following town meeting, being our April meeting, we need to reconsider officers, and have the annual tickler to think about bylaws and consider amending them if anybody cares to. All right, folks, anything else for tonight? Number 18, other? Oh, yeah, I guess we do have a couple pieces of mail. Thanks for reminding me, Steve. We have Spiniff providing reports of 2022 monitoring. So this is an FYI, this is what we came up with on the Brown Family Trust and on the Dale C. Purrington easements.
Do we have interest in those?
Secondary, I think.
I just shut my computer off.
No noteworthy changes on the Brown.
There's Brown we definitely do, right? Do we all?
Brown is down
I
by
think
Bolton
Parrington
Field.
we do too.
No, not by Bolton Field.
No,
but
out East Street, East Road.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And Parrington's up by the
Quaker Street.
Quaker Street, up by the ball field.
I don't know if we had money in that one, though.
Well, Mildred Hall put money into that.
Just we have an executory interest then, probably. Yeah, okay.
I can't remember, I thought we put a little bit in on it too.
It all blurs together.
Yeah.
Not sure that this body did. We're certainly aware of it. And similarly, PLC has provided a letter, follow-up to their 2022 annual monitoring, including Breedbrook, Chevy Hill, and Eastman.
Which one's Freedbrook?
That's off 149.
Breed Brook? No, that's off Quaker Street, isn't it?
Oh, that's that development up there?
No, it's right there, you go up past, right past the cemetery that's on the right. Go around the corner and down in that little hollow, I think that's Breed Brook.
I think
How come
Breed,
they don't mention the land you rent out
Look
of
at
the
this.
place?
You know what I'm talking?
Well, all right.
What's the
There's
matter?
an abutter at 49 Winterberry Lane
Winterberry Lane.
who has dumped
Winterberry.
Stumps.
Winterberry,
trees, compost, brush,
huh?
culvert.
Holdings. Up on the hill.
yeah, that's that.
Spaldings, oh.
So you
Oh.
come in behind the farmhouse,
Yeah, the open
Yeah.
space.
All right, Breed
Left.
Brook
go left halfway down.
Yeah,
is the, the,
What was the old name, what was the developer's name? We always.
all right, we had some issues previously there.
That's the one with like, you can't mow your backyard.
Right.
Stupidity.
Why'd we
The-
call that Breed Brook? I forget.
Yeah.
does that Breed Brook piece run
I guess
back
so.
that far?
It has a, yeah, it has a,
Yeah.
Letting people mow their backyard.
Yeah.
Once a year, right? We do
Yes.
it once a year.
all right, so,
And they own the land?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I'm looking here. So Winterberry Lane, which one was it?
49, tax map 405, lot 73.32.
32. So they're right on the end of Winterberry.
And Winterberry's at the end of the other one, or half?
It probably abuts the conservation piece.
Yeah, that's what I'm
That's
thinking,
why.
It's at the, yeah, there's like a turnaround.
Holly Hill Farm.
Yeah, Holly Hill.
yeah,
Yeah.
Holly
that's what
Hill,
we said,
thank
yeah.
you for sharing,
Yeah.
reminding, I
yeah.
skipping a few.
So what'd they do? They dump something?
It's not like they're just dumping some.
Stumps, small trees, compost, including leaves and brush, pile of culvert pipes. Guess that was noted in 2021 also. But they should follow up on that one.
So it's Jason, Keim, owns it.
Jason Kine and Ken.
49 Winterberry Lane.
Yeah,
Is that over there on
yeah. That's the abutter.
Is that the one that filed the complaint?
No, well, this is a monitoring report from PLC. So they've noted in walking the boundary that there's a
Yeah,
dumping area. So we need to get a letter to the abutter to get your stuff back on your property. Chevy Hill, ATV tracks were observed on the logging road. And boulders at the end of the road were presumably blocking ATV access had been removed. Yay, ATVs. Eastman, early 2022 ATV tracks were observed, entering from the north like they always have. Then they follow the railroad grade up to the beaver pond, mucking up the wet area. and even driving over the beaver lodge. Really thoughtful.
Yeah.
PLC requests that you contact the Breed Brook abutter, that the boulders at the end of Chevy Hill be replaced, signage.
I don't think the boulders went anywhere. I mean, I was out there hunting this fall. They're still
They
there.
got removed once, but I know the person that set them there, so they maybe came right back, I don't know.
I mean, there's enough room to get around them if you're creative. It's pretty hard to not get around stuff with an ATV. You can
I
always
know.
find somewhere. It really wasn't all that tracked up down there, though. I mean,
Oh, it was pretty bad last fall. I walked in there, I had rubber boots on up to my knees.
yeah, I mean, that was from a logging job too, though.
No, this was,
Oh, from ATVs? Yeah.
yeah, they make a mess, and then they go up the other way, out through toward the other field, and they got big fires going, and they're throwing beer cans and beer bottles everywhere, and
Where was that?
up there on top of Toby Hill.
Oh, Toby Hill. We're talking Chevy Hill, though.
Oh, Chevy.
Chevy Hill's like where the dead end is, there's some rocks around there, but there's kinda like an open spot. And then it goes down to the Woods Road, which is at the base of the slope. And eventually that kinda peters out when you get a ways down there in the woods. So I mean, it didn't seem like there was a ton of use in there. They did say Chevy Hill, not Toby Hill.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, so there's not like a ton of boulders out there that, I mean, from what I saw even in the spring, you could easily get around that with an ATV. Are we gonna go that nuts and like try to build a huge boulder wall around the whole thing? And the slope goes up like that, so those four-wheelers aren't going up that slope.
I'm more concerned about, although it sounds like it's stable, somebody using town land for a dumping area. So,
Just right in the water.
indeed. All right. Anything else?
Motion.
All right, Steve made the motion, we gotta have a second.
Second.
Terry's got the second. Motion to adjourn at 9:14. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, adjourned, 9:14.
That's pretty good for a list that long.